Hey everyone, I'm Ultimate456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 19 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Alright, before we get started, let's set our skills. So, we purchased Neural Liberation, so we need to set that skill, costs 7 skill points, and Melodious Voice and Vocabulary. So basically, we would only need to reach level 16 to actually be able to set all those skills. But the fact that we got to level 25 is huge. It's going to help us basically hit level 99 before the end of the game, or hopefully just before the end of the game. So that's good. Alright, without further ado, class trial number 1, begin. Trial is in session. All rise.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island.
Apart from that last line, I wonder if they actually re-recorded that, because obviously the first one was like, the first game wasn't an island, but the rest sounds pretty much like exactly the same, even with all the inflections and everything. Alright, let's keep going.
Such a cruel rule!
Before we begin, I'd like to confirm one thing. Is there really a killer among us?
Most definitely. There's no doubt that the blackened is lurking among you. Such a sad state of affairs, isn't it? By the way, this class trial is gonna be 100% fair, so there's no need to worry. I'm the type who hates favoritism and prejudice. Well, not as much as I hate monogamy, of course.
You hate me that much?
Now, let's begin.
You're telling us to begin, but what are we supposed to do?
No complaining, let's just settle this with our fists.
Were you even listening to the rules?
Didn't that Byakuya bastard get killed in the dining hall, huh? Then everyone there is a fucking suspect.
Yeah, what you're really trying to say is that you're not the killer, right?
No shit. You guys went off on your own and started killing each other. This has nothing to do with me.
Huh? What does that mean?
Anyway, why don't we try talking about the most pressing issue on our minds?
The most pressing issue on our minds?
Where we found the body. It's very strange to find a body underneath a table.
Then, let's start with that mystery.
The reason why Byakuya's body was discovered under the dining table. We can start with that, but ultimately, we need to find out who murdered him. If we can't do that... No, thinking about if is a waste of time. We have to do this, no matter what. So, the class trial has finally started. From this point on, I will provide simple tutorials at every important moment. I'm sorry, but please excuse my ear-tainting rudeness. As things progress, during each class trial, you will engage in a number of non-stop debates. During these discussions, all of your classmates will speak one after the other, without any breaks. It's up to you to reveal any lies or mistakes contained within their statements. This means you'll have to use your truth bullets to refute what they say. Out of all the truth bullets you find during your investigation, only the relevant ones will be loaded into the truth cylinder. Use the left stick to move the reticle, then fire with the triangle button. Pay close attention to each character's statements and choose your truth bullets to blast the right ones. Note that if you run out of time, you will automatically fail, so please be careful. If you press the options button during these arguments, you can review the controls. Well then, good luck and have fun. Alright, so let's listen to what everyone has to say and try and work out which truth bullet is correct. And we have 3 different truth bullets, which is quite low, but...
Why was Byakuya's body in a place like that?
His body was underneath the table at the very back of the dining hall.
After the killer murdered Byakuya, they probably moved the body there.
Huh? Why?
Obviously by hiding the body. They tried to delay its discovery! Like a dog burying a bone!
Okay, usually we'll have more truth bullets than that as we go further because our logic or action difficulty, I can't remember which one is set to mean, or both of them are set to mean, But for the beginning, they sort of take it easy on you. Huh? What he said, what he just said was strange. It clearly contradicts the information I know. Alright, so
Why was Byakuya's
Kazuichi
body-
said that they moved the body. However, if we look at the blood stain under the table truth bullet, it says a pool of blood formed around the body underneath the table. A lot of blood was spattered against the inside of the tablecloth. Also, there was no sign that the body was dragged through the blood stain. So
Place
they didn't
like
move
that.
the body. So let's
This
go to
body was
Kazuichi
under
by
the
holding
very
circle.
After the killer
And now we
murdered
gotta be
Byakuya,
careful.
they probably moved the body there.
Press triangle.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. I love that.
No, I don't think the killer moved the body.
Huh? Why?
Try to remember what the body looked like when we found it under the table. Though there was a lot of blood everywhere, there was no sign the killer actually dragged the body through it.
So that's why you think it's impossible that the killer moved the body. I see. I get your point.
Aw, and here I thought I had a genius idea.
Too bad you're so stupid and boring and unpopular. Your life is meaningless.
I respond better to praise, you know.
But if the killer didn't move the body, why was it under the table?
Byakuya was probably killed under the table.
What? You think he was killed under the table?
So Byakuya snuck under the table for reasons unknown, and that's when he was killed. Then, shortly thereafter, we found his body under the table.
That does make sense, but why did he go under the table?
Obviously, he was hiding so he could surprise us. That dude was always a big jokester.
The hell he was? You seriously couldn't tell what kind of person he was?
Maybe he panicked during the blackout and dove under the table.
It's a blackout, not an earthquake. Just because the power went out doesn't mean he'd dive under the table.
The reason why is probably connected to what Byakuya was doing during the party, don't you think?
The reason Byakuya dove under the table, if it's connected to what Byakuya was doing during the party, then it's probably, well, he was looking for the knife because he was trying to protect everyone.
I can prove it with this.
It's actually quite a,
Probably has something to do with the knife we found under the table.
it's actually quite a tricky one because you have to kind of think about how the crime took place. That's why that one's a little bit difficult. But yeah, he was looking for the knife.
Knife? Oh, you mean that thing that obviously screams, I am the murder weapon!
Byakuya probably noticed the knife was hidden there. So in order to get it, he moved under the table.
He was particularly sensitive to the presence of dangerous items, so I cannot deny that possibility. But how did he notice that there was a knife under the table?
If he knew beforehand, he probably would have done something about it before the blackout, right?
Then, instead of knowing about it beforehand, maybe he saw it right at that moment. Like, for example, he might have seen someone trying to take the knife out from under the table.
No, that's not possible.
What? You seem rather confident about that.
Of course. I have proof to back me up.
This is almost like a real trial.
During the previous statement, there was only one weak spot. But from this point on, there will be various weak spots standing in your way. No matter how many weak spots there are, there will be only one lie or contradiction in the debate at a time. This means there will be false weak spots. If you shoot a false weak spot with a truth bullet, not only will you fail to refute what was said, but you'll also lower your trust with everyone and your influence gauge will take damage. If your influence gauge reaches 0, you will fail, so please be careful, be extra careful. You'll have to rely on your own logic to determine which weak spots are actually lies or mistakes. Also, if you concentrate by holding down the R1 button, you can progress the argument slowly. We're not going to do that. There's a few things that we actually want to make sure that we don't do in the first trial. That is, press the R1 button because completing a trial without concentrating is a trophy, and we also don't want to take any damage. Now, the taking any damage one can be a little bit tricky, but we'll get through it. Please use it whenever you feel like the statements are moving too fast for you to aim. However, this does consume the focus gauge, so please be careful. If you press the options button during these arguments, you can review the controls. Well then, good luck and have fun. Okay, let's see how this argument goes. So, Peko seems to think that there was no way that Byakuya could see what he was doing during the blackout. I think differently though.
I'm sure Byakuya ducked under the table during the blackout. That sounds correct.
If that's the case... During the blackout, Mr. Ham Hands must have seen the killer take the knife.
But it was super pitch black! It was so dark I couldn't see my food. Byakuya couldn't see in the dark either. I doubt he could have seen the killer.
Okay, so Peko thinks that Byakuya couldn't have seen in the dark, but we pretty much know that he could. It's true, getting onto that table during the blackout would have been nearly impossible, but
I'm sure
Byakuya
during the black
had the night vision goggles. So Sonia said correct there, which we could have hit with something, but it wouldn't have been right.
Byakuya couldn't see in the dark.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
No, Byakuya was probably the only one who was able to see in the dark.
Why do you say that?
If he was using those night vision goggles we found under the table, he could have seen what was happening.
So, are you saying Byakuya was the one who used those night vision goggles?
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
Your reasoning is out of focus.
Alright, now we get our first rebuttal.
No, that's obviously wrong. It should be the other way around.
Other way around?
Seriously? The killer used those night vision goggles, not Byakuya.
Were you surprised by Mahiru's sudden argument? Just between you and me, I was also surprised. Just kidding, I'm sorry. Now then, when this kind of argument surfaces, you will go into a one-on-one debate called Rebuttal Showdown. In this mode, you have to counter the other person's claim, draw out their weak spots, and argue against them. Please counter the other person's remarks with the left stick. Based on the shape of their remarks, it's important to know whether to cut vertically, sideways, or diagonally. And based on that, you can skew the debate's mood to your advantage. On the other hand, if you ignore the other person's remarks, it will skew toward their advantage. In the bottom right hand corner of your screen, a number that shows the sharpness of your counter is displayed. This is the number of times you can cut remarks during one round of the debate. You will lose counts of sharpness even if you miss, so please be very careful. When the mood skews to your advantage for a certain length of time, the other party's argument changes. This means the conversation will develop. If that happens, they will end up divulging some weak spots. However, you cannot normally cut remarks that contain weak spots. Instead, it will skew the mood toward the other party's advantage. Plus, it's going to be very big. Just like a regular debate, please refute any weak spots with the triangle button. Of course, if you don't have the correct truth blade, you will not be able to cut an opponent's remark. Huh? What's a truth blade? I'm terribly sorry. It appears there's been a delay in contacting you. I'll make sure the person in charge of contacting you takes a very long vacation. In this mode, truth bullets will be called truth blades. That's about it. There won't be any other changes to your handbook menu. Only the name was changed, but don't you think a change in feeling is important? If you press the options button, you can during these arguments, you can view the controls. Well then, good luck and have fun. Alright, so we basically need to cut her words and then use our truth blade. So this can be a little bit difficult, but we're just going to do our best here.
If you just use common, the killer obviously used those knives. That's gotta be it.
Sometimes you should wait a few...
Where's your proof that the killer used them?
Because if they used night vision, then they could have killed Byakuya even in reality. So those goggles were planned in advance. The killer brought them to the crime scene.
Alright, so she's saying that the killer brought them to the crime scene. But we know that that's not true because we found a case in the a night vision goggle case in the Duralumin case that Byakuya had with him. So Byakuya was the one that actually brought them. Now it did seem like I took damage there, but I don't see my influence gauge has any damage. The influence gauge is the pink one and the focus is the blue one. So I'm going to use Duralumin case when she says brought them on the next attempt. And you should try and wait sometimes for the words to kind of like squish together so that you don't use as many cuts. I think here they give you enough cuts to get through it, but that is sometimes something you'll need to do. Found a hole in your argument. I'm sure Byakuya brought the night vision goggles. I need to refute Mihiru's claim with evidence.
Because if they used night vision, then they could have killed Byakuya even in the dark. I mean, in reality. So those goggles were planned in advance. The killer brought them to the crime scene.
Allow me to cut through those words.
I love that part. Allow me to cut through those words.
No, Byakuya was definitely the one who brought those night vision goggles.
Definitely? But why?
Inside the Duralumin case Byakuya had with him during the party, he found a smaller case for storing the night vision goggles.
Which means we can assume that the night vision goggles were kept inside that Duralumin case as well. Woohoo! I said assume! Ibuki never uses such clever language.
Plus, Byakuya was the only one who could have taken the night vision goggles out of the case, since he was carrying it around before the blackout in the first place.
I see. When you put it like that, it makes sense.
Then, was that knife inside the case too? If there were night vision goggles inside, it wouldn't be weird for a knife to be in there too.
It would be weird.
I am weird, aren't I? At times like this, I'd rather be fantasizing about tonight's main dish.
Ew! You totally mean that in a perverted way.
The knife was brought in the Duralumin case along with the night vision goggles too. No, that's not possible. The knife was hidden in the dining hall before the party even started. I should be able to prove it. It was hidden with the duct tape.
I see!
I should have probably gone through those options.
Tape left under the table where the body was found. Huh? Duct tape. They probably hid the knife by duct taping it to the underside of the table.
Oh, so that's why we found duct tape there.
Though Byakuya was thorough, even he couldn't have noticed a weapon taped to the underside of the table.
This may be off topic, but why was Byakuya acting so paranoid?
That actually seems rather weird that Byakuya he went to all that trouble of like preparing this and making sure that everyone's safe, and he didn't notice the knife under the table. I mean, like, you'd look everywhere, right? It's maybe off topic, but why was Byakuya acting so paranoid?
Not only did he bring a self-defense kit, but he had night vision goggles inside the case too.
That's true. He went above and beyond being a little cautious.
Now that you mention it, that applies to the dangerous items he confiscated as well. It's one thing to be a little cautious, but performing a body check is a bit much.
He probably knew. Someone was planning to commit a murder.
Are you saying he predicted the murder? Could it be? Was he also in possession of the all-seeing eye?
You think so too, right, Hajime?
That's right. Byakuya probably knew there was a possibility that a murder would occur because we found this note in his room, the murder threat. So let's present that with triangle.
I can prove it with this! Everyone, can you please take a look at this?
Be careful. The first kill will happen tonight. Someone will definitely kill someone.
Hey, the hell is this?
Hajime and I found this in Byakuya's cottage.
It looks like a threatening letter someone sent to him.
So, who's the someone?
Nobody besides Monokuma would write such a dumb, threatening letter like that.
Wasn't me!
Are you sure?
The only lies I tell are friendly lies!
Those are still lies!
It doesn't matter who wrote it yet. So, Byakuya became paranoid because of this threatening letter?
He probably decided to throw a party because of the letter.
What do you mean?
By gathering everyone in one place, he tried to create a situation where everyone could keep tabs on each other. In doing so, he tried to put the writer of the letter in a situation where they couldn't act.
But the letter might have been just a little prank.
As long as he was determined not to let any of us die, he couldn't take that risk. His strong sense of responsibility made him believe the letter was legitimate.
He should have told us he received a threatening letter.
If he had, we would have panicked. Byakuya probably knew that too.
So, he tried to do something about it without telling anyone?
I see. A strong sense of responsibility as our leader was his undoing. Screw that noise! Who the hell wrote that letter?
Well, obviously, the killer.
the killer. Is it really one of us? Who is it? Among us, who's the one who killed Byakuya?
Enough already! Show yourself, you coward!
If they were willing to come forward, they never would have committed a murder in the first place.
But I still can't believe it. Someone in this room killed Byakuya. There's no way I can believe that yet.
Pardon me. Can I say something, please?
Yeah, next time. Alright, so I want to thank you all for watching episode 19 of Let's Platinum Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. My name's Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.